Coming to you live from deep within a debt-ridden radioactive wasteland, we are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse, the few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the Twitter hordes with Musk versus Trump, duke it out on Twitter. But I think there's something more going on. Rant Zerker number 243. And I'm your host, Alison, and with me is the very skeptical Karen, who may make her skepticism clear of why we are, what the heck am I doing? But I just wanted to start by saying that in this Twitter fracas, is that how you say it? Fracas? Fracas?
Fracas.
Trump has lost like, I think 14% on his Tesla stock. So he's taken quite a hit. Although I do have
Elon.
video of him saying
Trump?
that.
What?
You know,
Trump? Elon?
No. Elon has lost 14% on his Tesla stock. So he's taken quite a hit in this particular endeavor that he's pursuing. But I do have like a video of him saying that it doesn't matter, money, power. He just wants to tell the truth. So why don't we get into it and find out what the heck's going on and what could be behind this and why it's happening. So go ahead, Karen. I know you have words for me.
Well,
go ahead.
In terms of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any speculation at this point is premature as to what's going on behind the scenes and why this happened, and it's premature. It's just like, let's just throw a bunch of spaghetti around and see if anything might stick. Yeah, no, I like, if I'd known this was the topic, I would have like told you to pick another topic.
Yeah, well, I actually have some information that I just picked out because I'm a squirrel picking up nuts that I wanted to throw out there, but I'll do it at the end. Let's just sort of cover what's going on. And I got to get to the correct item because I have a whole bunch of nuts that I've gathered. And so let's start with this.
Criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, regarding.
Can you guys hear this?
And your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which of course what is you're seeking?
Well, look, you know, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, the words, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill.
Wait, Alison, hold on.
Elon,
I don't think.
Okay.
Wait.
What's going on?
Where's your sound coming out of? It seems like
It
it's
should
coming out
be,
of your camera, not the website.
Really?
Which is kind of
so
weird.
it's really muffled. Okay, well,
Yeah,
let me see
muffled.
let me see what's going on here.
Karen, can you hear it?
I can hear it. It's really quiet compared to Alison and you.
Okay, so let me first I have to identify where the heck my mouse went, because I'm wearing my migraine-proof glasses. It should be coming out of the screen. Did I forget to actually put the sound on? Stop sharing. I will attempt to redo this. Entire screen. It should, to share, I have to get a tab. And this isn't in a tab. So let me see if I can find it quickly on the webs.
No, just open the URL in a tab.
Yeah, I don't have the URL. I have actually downloaded this file just in case it.
For Christ's sake.
Is it possible to drag the file into a web browser and have it open as a video
That's
file?
what I was doing at the beginning of this.
Okay.
So, all right. So here we go. This is Forbes, so they're going to have a lot of crap as well involved in this. So,
actually, Forbes is not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Mr. President, can we follow up on the auto pay? Thank you, Mr.
Can you guys hear this now?
Criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, it's
regarding
good.
Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you
Sorry,
think
guys.
it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which is, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say, people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing,
just another technical issue, Brian. It's not really selecting the source to show on the vertical stream.
Your camera's frozen too.
Okay, I can fix that. But
No, you're fine now.
No,
It's
your
fine now.
camera's fine.
Okay, my camera's fine. Well, maybe I was just
Yeah. So
standing
what?
still.
Now, what was it about the source? What's the issue?
Yeah, the source isn't being pulled up on the vertical chat, so they aren't able to see what's going on.
Oh, I see. That's
Yeah.
because of the. Hold on.
Am I too loud? Do I have to mute?
It's
or-
because you guys are making noise and it's switching scenes. So go ahead and play
Okay,
it.
so all right. Got too many tabs here.
for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, he recommended somebody from, that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA. And I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, look, we won. We get certain privileges. And one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General.
All right. So basically, that's a little bit of a summation. I can go over to Epoch because I trust them quite a bit to take a look at what's going on here. And I'll do a read through Epoch. All right, here we go. I think that's how you said the Epoch Times. All right, so is this showing up correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is the Epoch Times, Trump-Musk trade barbs amid break over policy bill. The relationship ruptured in real time online, spurred by disagreements over the deficit impact of Trump's policy bill. Simmering policy disagreements between President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk on June 5th devolved into open conflict after Trump criticized the former ally from the Oval Office. After Musk ratcheted up his criticisms of Trump's signature domestic policy bill, Trump told reporters on June 5th that he was disappointed with the Tesla CEO, alleging that his attacks were driven by the bill's rollback of clean energy tax credits. Musk quickly shot back on his social media platform, posting a flurry of responses and raising the prospect of abandoning the GOP entirely in favor of a third party. Trump responded on his Truth Social platform, threatening to cancel government contracts with Musk's companies. The conflict escalated rapidly online, with both leveling harsh criticism at the other. The public rupture comes just days after Musk left the administration as a special advisor for the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Trump and Musk had praised each other in an Oval Office event, marking the occasion. The once close relationship between the two, which began in 2024 after Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, appeared to have been strained in recent weeks by disagreements over the House-passed budget bill called the One Beautiful Bill Act. The Republican legislature would fund and implement Trump's agenda, but has been condemned by Musk and some other Republicans for its potential impact on the federal deficit. That would be, I think, Rand. A public breakup. After days of attempting to present a unified front despite their disagreements on the budget bill, Trump indicated growing frustrations with Musk during comments to reporters from the Oval Office. The president expressed disappointment in Musk's criticism of his key legislation. Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore, he said. Musk immediately responded with a post on X claiming that his campaigning for Trump turned the tide in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and the Republicans be 51-49 in the Senate, Musk said. Such ingratitude. Musk poured $300 million into supporting Trump in the 2024 elections. Trump said that he had been blindsided by Musk's opposition to the GOP bill, telling reporters that Musk knew the inner workings of the bill better than anyone sitting here. Trump suggested that Musk's opposition was driven in part by the bill's provisions in repealed credit for electronic vehicles that were included in the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. He only developed the problem when he found out they were going to cut the EV mandate, Trump said, referring to electrical vehicles. The House-passed bill phases out a 7,500 EV tax credit in December 2026. It also accelerates the phase-outs of other clean energy tax credits enacted in the Inflation Reduction Act. Musk denied that his opposition was because of the changes to the EV policy. Whatever he said in a post, keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair, but ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. On his Truth Social platform, Trump said that Musk had been wearing thin, saying that he asked Musk to leave his post at Doge. Musk responded, denying it. Trump threatened his Musk contract. Okay, and so the debates over Bill's deficit impact. The conflict stems from differing positions on the Trump agenda's Bill's impact on the federal deficit. The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, on June 4th projected that the legislation would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit over a decade, but Trump has indicated that this doesn't tell the full story. Trump and Republican leaders argue that the bill would unleash economic growth, leading to net reductions in the deficit over 10 years. During a call with reporters on June 4th, Russ Vogel, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, said that the CBO's baseline for calculating the budget's impact is fundamentally skewed. Essentially, what they're saying is the CBO doesn't include growth, projected, enough projected growth to cover the deficit.
It also doesn't include income revenues from tariffs.
Yeah. Musk has decried the bill as a disgusting abomination, expressing skepticism that a bill could be both big and beautiful. He called on supporters to urge their lawmakers to kill the bill. It's unclear what impact the growing feud will have as the legislation works through the Senate. The president hopes that the legislation can be passed by early July. Several Republicans, including Senator Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, and Mike Lee, have expressed similar concerns regarding the bill's impact on the federal budget. Substantial modifications to the House-passed bill are expected in the upper chamber, where Trump can spare no more than 3 deflections to pass the legislation. So this isn't. It still has a ways to go to be passed. And I guess the question is, because I know this has really impacted a lot of people. It's almost as bad as your parents divorcing. But the question is this? I mean, could this be some political theater in order to apply pressure to the Senate? Could there be another thing going on?
No,
you don't think so? You think that this is a genuine breakup?
No, I think that Elon Musk is not okay. So consider the name of it: One Big Beautiful Bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because Trump has one big beautiful economic plan.
Right?
And that plan includes cutting taxes to spur growth, imposing tariffs to bring to onshore manufacturing and business investment, right? And spur economic growth and therefore government revenues. And then you also have and like projected growth from these tax cuts and the tariffs. Not just the tariffs in terms of the money that you collect from them, but the revenue that you generate, because now iPhones are going to be made in America, right?
Mm.
And all the cars are going to be made in America, and all of that, right? So you have all of these different revenue streams that are coming together, and the CBO does not, the committee for the budget office, the whatever it's called, they don't include everything, right? All of these, all of the projections in their calculations, right? So they say this is going to increase the deficit. Well, maybe not. Maybe it won't, right? Maybe like in by I think it was 2018 or 2019, right? Trump's tax cuts actually that he implemented in 2017, they came into effect in 2018, right? For the 2018 tax year. Those tax cuts basically increased government revenues because they spurred growth, right? They increased incomes and spurred growth. So you're taxing a lower percentage on higher personal incomes, and you're taxing a lower percentage on higher business revenues, higher business profits, right? So, but basically, Trump has a comprehensive economic plan, right? And you can't implement a comprehensive economic plan in 17 bills, standalone bills. You can't do it, right? Because everybody's going to say, well, how's the border security funding going to, well, like, what's the pay for here? Like, how are we going to find the money? Well, the money's found in one of the other 16 bills, right? In the increased revenue, right? So you kind of have to consolidate it. It's like basically asking yourself, well, okay, so I own a home and I can afford to spend $25,000 on a new roof and $2,500 on a new bathroom, and then I can afford to spend $1,000 updating the paint job, and yeah, no, but all of that money is fungible, right? And if your income goes up during that period of time, right, then you can afford more. You can afford more for the roof. If the roof turns out to not cost as much as you thought it would, and this is what infuriates me, and it actually infuriated Elon Musk about, when he was working with Doge, is, okay, if you have a government department and they're allocated, you can spend this much money this year, right?
Okay, Karen, can I just get you to pause for a second? Brian, could you switch it back to the faces if you're here, if you're listening, so that we can?
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
I just let me know when you want me to turn it off, and I'll turn it off.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, what I was saying is, okay, so if you have a company, and my mom used to work at a specialty advertising company, and they put like logos on hats and on golf balls and on t-shirts and stuff like that. And at the end of every fiscal year, the last month, that was the busiest season. Why? Because every government department would come in to order specialized pens and hats and like all kinds of other shit, because they had to spend their budget, because if they didn't spend every last fucking dollar they were allocated that year, it wasn't rolled over. The extra wasn't rolled over into next year. They didn't start from, it wasn't like balanced down to zero and they got the same amount next year. No. If they were allocated $1 million and they only spent $800,000 that year, right? They'd only get $800,000 the next year. They wouldn't get $1 million next year. They wouldn't get $1.2 million next year. They get 800,000 because that's what they spent the previous year. And this is how governments fucking work, right? Okay. And you can't fucking fix a government by just saying, okay, well, let's just do everything piecemeal. How much can I spend on the kitchen? How much can I spend on the home office? How much can I spend on the bathroom? How much can I? No, you have to look at your entire fucking income and figure out how much you can spend on the whole fucking thing. because you know what?
Mhm.
Maybe your roof doesn't need redoing this year, and maybe you can live with the canary yellow toilet, right? And maybe you can fucking live with the shitty cupboards in the kitchen, right? Maybe you can live with that, right? And muddle through. And what you really need to do is just like grade the yard so your basement doesn't flood, right? Maybe that's what you need to concentrate on. But you need one plan. You need one budget. You need one fucking way of tackling the problem of a house. You can't just go room by room, right? And that's what Elon Musk is saying. Well, we need to do this room by room. No, Trump has a plan to renovate the entire house.
Well, here's the thing. Like, there's the budget to renovate the house, and then there's going after the HOA, the Homeowners Association, for their particular, let's say, legislation that's preventing you from doing what you want with the house.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if this, like I said at the beginning, if there's a strategy here, because we got the budget, and
It's
part
not
of
really a budget, but it's a spending bill. Yeah,
a spending bill.
a
We have
comprehensive
the
spending.
sorry, budget's been on my mind for reasons related
really?
to
Yeah, no, I don't know
related
why.
to the fact that the Canadian government, and when we're discussing this, of course, the Canadian government is always worse. They don't even have they're just spending. So we have a whole bunch of politicians in office in Canada who are basically writing checks that our asses have to cash.
And they're not telling us what they're for.
Yeah, and what they're for, or even how much. But anyway, so going back to the situation in the US, this is why I'm thinking that there is a strategy here, because you have a situation where, and one of the things that I think Elon Musk has said is a problem with the bill is that the cuts are over the next 10 years. So it will reduce the deficit, but it's going to take 10 years to do it, and Trump's out in 4 years, and then the Congress just votes more pork, right? So I think that part of the strategies, I think, again, you have the budget for the renovations of the house, and then you have to go after the Homeowners Association for the legislation that's preventing what the changes you want to make, right? So I think that this is a two-pronged strategy, but we'll get into it. First, I want to bring up another video. So you're probably going to have to change it again, Brian. I apologize for the clunkiness of this. Oh, I've been sharing. Oh, that doesn't matter. Okay. I'm going to bring up another video. Let's see if I can get this all sorted. I have so many tabs and screens now. You wouldn't believe, guys. I'm like just in like 360 screens. It's very, very matrixy. But okay, let me let's see if I can find it. So many tabs. Okay, let me see here. Twitter on X, the X on X. Sorry, guys. I need finding the correct here we go. There we go. Here's our friend AOC who had to chime in on this shit. Because of course, although you know what, I'm going to say something. Until Musk did the whole Epstein Files thing, I'm actually appreciating that people are talking about policy and economics and interest rates and paying off the deficit rather than constantly orange man bad. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And but what about the raped women?
Yeah. Okay, but the thing is that I think that was settled in like a civil. It ended up being a civil court case, which that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Sometimes people settle with a vexatious litigate to make them go away.
Kate, what was settled?
They keep bringing,
they're bringing up the Epstein Files. The Epstein Files is
no, I know. I'm sorry. I'm jumping around. I'm a squirrel. Let us focus. Yes. Musk brought up the Epstein Files and that Trump is in the Epstein Files. And that's why they haven't been released. Although he said it in such a vague way. I mean, Trump could have been in the Epstein Files as in Epstein wrote something like Trump punched me in the eye because I attempted to rape someone's daughter, that kind of thing. So we don't even know. And it's vague. But when he did that, I'm like, yeah, Elon, you just delegitimized your entire position.
Yeah,
By
well,
turning this
because
into e-drama.
because honestly, Elon Musk does have top secret clearance, but that doesn't mean you just get to look at anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like need to know basis, right? So it's probably certain, right? It's like 99% certain that Elon Musk hasn't seen the Epstein files. He hasn't looked at them, right? And so like he doesn't know. He's talking out of his ass. And if he's not, I'm going to be very annoyed. But if he is, I'm also going to be very annoyed because like why would you do that? So it but the issue is with the Epstein files, everybody knows that Trump flew on Epstein's plane. Everybody knows that Trump was a friend of Epstein's, right? Everybody knows from the testimony of one of Epstein's victims that when she was 14 back around 2000, right? Maxwell and Epstein took her to meet Trump, and Trump didn't do anything. Like he didn't do anything inappropriate.
Okay,
So
just
like,
not again.
this is all in the file, right?
Brian, you have to switch it because Karen's not.
I
showing
did.
now.
You just gotta
Okay,
tell
good.
me.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, can you
Okay.
do the noise gate thing again? Just between the two.
Don't switch it because I'm about to get up
Uh-oh.
and go do something. So just keep talking, and I'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to actually play a video, so let's switch it to the video thing. Can you hear the video while it's being played, Karen?
Just give me a minute, and I'll be able to hear it in a minute.
Okay. All right. So essentially, when that happened, I lost a lot of respect for Elon's position. I think it's reasonable to have a conflict over the contents of an a spending bill, to have a conflict over these kinds of matters. In fact, I think it's a good thing. Like, people get really upset with arguments. I mean, I personally didn't necessarily invest as much emotionally in either Elon or Trump, but I think that them having it out, hashing it out, maybe it could have been in private, maybe it needed to be public, who knows, but hashing out the particulars of this bill and the potential problems of it is actually a good sign. Like, we should have these kinds of conversations, these even conflicts, even fights over things that really matter, like government spending. Because ultimately, that, in my opinion, government spending is pretty much the only thing that matters. Because what the government is doing is it is feeding off of the market. And in so doing, it's actually reducing the health of the market, in my opinion. And the market represents this kind of movement, this economic movement, this ability to rise up in terms of economic status. So it is something that I would consider to be as close as we can get to a true meritocracy, which is something that men need to thrive and grow, and actually also develop the social capital that makes them attractive to women. And that is being destroyed by government spending. You see, I got it back to men's issues. And that's why I think that these kinds of conversations are really critical. It's really critical to rein in government spending. It's really critical to have this discussion, no matter how fiery or heated it gets, as long as it's kept to the policies, as long as it's kept to criticizing the spending, the bill, and all of that stuff. When Elon started with the Epstein Files thing, that's when I lost a lot of respect for him, because that's like taking it into the realm of e-drama, and from the realm of legitimate conflict over policy, which I think is healthy, honestly, even if it means they break up. If they have if they are presenting their opinion on this issue for people to see and discuss, that's a good thing. Break up, like they're a couple, sorry. But it's a good thing to see that, no matter how heated it gets. We need to get used to the feeling of arguments And honestly, the party that really should be in power is the party that can handle the biggest arguments, the biggest conflicts. I see you're nodding, so maybe you agree to some degree.
I agree to some degree. And
To some degree.
I definitely agree Elon should not have, like,
Yeah.
that was, I mean,
that was not cricket.
if he doesn't have, no, I mean, like, maybe it is if you have the receipts.
Yeah, I
But
mean, maybe,
if you don't have the receipt,
don't do it.
why would you say it? Right?
Yeah, don't say something like that without evidence. But the other thing is that what he said was so vague. Who knows what it means, right? Like, I mean, Epstein could have mentioned Trump as his arch nemesis. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so this is okay. So Brian, we're back on the video. So please switch it to that.
okay, I'm gonna get up again right now.
Again? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you actually
you're gonna have to live with it?
I was filibustering for you to come back to watch the video.
Yeah, well, just filibuster for do the things. How about that?
Okay, I'll do the things. Yes. Okay, everyone. If you would like to send us a message, the very best way to do so is at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's how you get a little more space to elucidate your thoughts, to elaborate your thoughts. Write an essay. Please don't write an essay. But you get a little bit more space to speak, and you also, your words aren't sent through YouTube series of word filters and censors, and also your funds won't be seized by YouTube should one of those word filters or censors be triggered. So it's the very best way for you to send us a tip, and the best way for you to send your comment to us so that we get it, we know where it is. Because again, also super chats can be a little bit hinky, and where they go, they sort of disappear. But the super chow never disappears. It's always there. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Whatever you want to say, you want to criticize me, you want to say my hat is stupid. I love that you guys have updated your little list on me, and now it's the hat. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Or if you want to say something sensible, or if you want to actually shill your channel, or whatever you want to do, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. As long as it's within reasonable limits. Don't send War and Peace. Don't send, Mein Kampf, that kind of thing. Oh, just got the flag. I just got our channel demonetized. Well, it's already demonetized. Now I just got it flagged for erasure. All right. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And I would normally tell you guys that we have our monthly fundraiser open, but it's not open yet. So we have to wait on that. Although when it is open, it'll be at feedthebadger.com/support. And here's a big one. Come and join our community. You can help us out with sourcing stuff, or you can find my sources on the things that I say. It's at badgernation.online, but you do have to get a Discord and join the Discord. But it's got events, we got movie nights, we got, here and there. And also, if you're a writer, consider subscribing and taking part in the writing group, which you can do at feedthebadger.com/subscribe. There's lots of stuff for writers, people who are attempting to put their thoughts to pen. So there you go. That's all the things. And it looks like Karen has returned. So let's finally get to AOC. Like, we've been hanging on this particular video for a while now. Let's see where it doesn't help that I have my my welder's goggles on to find where my mouse has gone. Okay, we're ready to play the video, Brian. So let's change it to, I'm giving you a moment to change it to just give me an indication that you have.
Yeah, it's done. If you play the video, it'll automatically switch to that scene. But if you talk,
that's really clever.
While it's playing, it'll switch to whoever's talking. So.
All right, I won't talk.
Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I would say that this was something that was a long time coming, where we've been seeing that these two huge egos were not long for being together in this world as friends. And so I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Thank you so much. Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Okay, no more OOC. Of course, she's all over this like white on rice, huh?
Yeah, no, but what she's saying is sensible. It's two men with huge egos.
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. But is that like? I think there is something more to it.
You're always looking. You're like out. Should I just change your name to Alex?
Alex Jones. Alexander.
Alex Jones Teeman.
Maybe. So I'm always looking for the deeper thing.
Yeah, no, you're always looking for the undercurrents and the conspiracies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think honestly, if this is a ploy, right? And I do actually think that Trump is capable of, extrapolating a few steps ahead, right, in his little particular chess game. And maybe, maybe. Well, no, but he wouldn't have used Elon. If they haven't fallen out, he wouldn't have used Elon if this was just like a big act, right? Mm-hmm. He wouldn't have had Elon do the Epstein file thing, because if and when the Epstein files do come out and Trump's not in them, or not in them in an incriminating way, right? Elon's just going to look like a fucking retard.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, it's like there's literally no way that I can see this being some kind of, collaborative stunt that they're pulling, where they both have the same goal and they're going after the same things. I think, I do think Elon was overstating it when he said that Trump would have lost without him.
Yeah. I think honestly,
Trump might have lost without him, but you can't say he would have.
Let's put it this way. I don't think either of them are going to be better off without the other, shall we say? Because, SpaceX is, I believe it's how the US gets into space now. So
largely, yeah.
Yeah, and then
and when Elon said
pays a huge amount of the bills, like the tax bill of the US for the US. So
and when Elon said he was just gonna like decommission Dragon, right? Well, Dragon was the spacecraft that rescued those two astronauts from the International Space Station.
Yeah.
So like that was like, I guess I'll just start disassembling it now.
That's unfortunate. But
he's not gonna do that, right?
Okay,
but
I take your point with what you said about the Epstein Files comment, that it'll be embarrassing if there's nothing to deliver. But that's why I said that it's so vague. It's like Trump is in the Epstein Files with no specification.
Everybody knows that Trump is in the Epstein Files. Because you know what else is in the Epstein Files? The flight rosters.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm
and
Trump's so vague. I mean, it could just be like you can say this vague thing, and then afterwards we find out that it's really harmless.
It's just what was already publicly known.
Yeah, and then
Trump hitched rides between New York and Florida.
But that makes Elon technically correct.
Technically correct. Yeah, I guess he's enough of.
That's the best
I guess
form
he's enough of an autist.
That's
enough
the
of an
best
autist to think that it's the best kind of correct. Yeah.
Well, Musk is nothing if not somewhere on the spectrum.
Oh no, he's definitely somewhere on the spectrum. But what I'm saying is, right, like, regardless of what his motivations were, this was a bad move, right?
Mm,
Like that accusation was a bad move because Musk has had top secret clearance for some time now. So if
Mm.
he had inside information about the Epstein files based on his top secret access, that would have started during Biden's administration and during Trump's first term, right? Okay. And like, okay, so when did you have access to this information? And you endorsed him? Now he's got to go back and say, oh, honest, I never actually looked until the big, beautiful bill annoyed me.
Mm. Yeah, it's a bit thin. Okay, Brian, it's stuck on the video now. This is I don't mean to annoy you, but this is sort of the
All right, well,
I think
okay.
something's going on with the noise
So
gate.
let's do this, okay?
All
When
right.
you guys are going to have a conversation, tell me and I'll turn on the switcher so that you two talk. When you're ready to play the
Okay.
video, we have to do this
Yes.
one of two ways, okay? Either I'm going to leave all of the automatic scene switching things on, which means you guys have to not talk
Be
when you're playing the
disciplined.
video, or I'm going to leave that off and, like you're just going to have to tell me when you're going to talk so I can turn it on.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I don't care about being on camera. Jesus Christ.
All right, no, it's just between me and Brian. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, Brian, I will give you an indication when we're starting chat and when we're actually playing a video.
Okay.
All right, so that's how we'll deal with this. With this,
So what are we doing now?
Our lack of mic discipline, shall we say?
But what are we doing right now?
What we're doing right now is so you think AOC has a point. I think that she's just gloating over this.
Doesn't mean she doesn't have a point.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But it would
Can
be nice
I
to,
know it's not my business, but can I give my impression of this AOC thing?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Isn't it funny that she immediately starts by saying the girls are fighting?
Girls. Yeah.
As though to essentially compare a man, when a man is misbehaving, they become a girl to her. Isn't that interesting? Isn't she supposed to be like a feminist that doesn't think women, isn't that a sexist remark or a transphobic one or something?
That's a really good point, Brian. That's a
No.
really good point.
No. It's not a good point as stated. When men cause drama, interpersonal drama with their friends in this way, it is very typical of female interpersonal aggression. The backstabbing.
No,
the
I agree,
reputational
but
destruction,
no,
right? All of that.
Karen, I get it, but
Okay,
according
yeah,
to
no,
feminist
but-
logic, if you compare any behavior that is childish to a woman, that's sexist. So I'm saying that she's applying something that would not go over well with feminists, of which she is supposed to be one.
Well, that's true.
To men. That's what I'm saying. I'm not that's not my judgment. I'm going off of her logic. This is Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with Brian. Like, AOC is a feminist, right? So she is supposed to reject this kind of femophobia, which is the association of anything feminine with the negative, I assume, at the same time as saying that masculinity is toxic and identifying no positive masculinity. So this is, as Brian said, sexism. She's engaging in internalized misogyny, but she cannot resist. She can't resist emasculating Trump and Elon. Not that I think either of them would really care that much, but regardless, she can't resist that, this is the fundamental thing that I've noticed with a lot of feminists. They want to be regarded. They want to be regarded as good as men, but still shame men for not being better than women. Have you noticed that? Like, it reminds me of a tweet exchange that I got in, and I've mentioned this multiple times, but I'll do it again, where I got into an argument with a feminist, and she thought I was a man because, I have this magnificent jawline. And she essentially said that when she started to lose the argument, that I was not man enough to save her when she was in her weakness. And I'm like, so you're using your incompetence and weakness to shame me as a man. So you're basically saying that as a woman, I'm lesser, but because I'm lesser, that means that you as a man need to save me. I'm like, is that empowerment? That's what she's doing here. She's saying girls engage in this kind of drama and snippiness, and inability to be disciplined in public, not men. Therefore, I'm going to shame these two men as not living up to the standard of men. Meanwhile, she won't acknowledge that there is a standard for men. You know, the whole inventory, masculine norms inventory that feminists reduced from. This is your thing, Karen. You talk about it a lot. They reduced what is seen as manhood from, protector, provider, discipline,
breadwinner,
yeah,
discipline,
and also
stoicism,
controlling your emotions, having message discipline, being professional. That's associated with manhood, all the way down to one positive trait, which was Playboy, and then we have Andrew Tate. So I mean, this is the thing, ladies. If you want to be seen as responsible, controlled, disciplined, etc., as men, you have to let go of being of shaming men and as better than you on those ways. You know what I mean? Like you can't do this.
Okay.
Because go ahead.
I think I know what you're getting at.
Oh, good. Somebody does. All right, go ahead.
She's holding these men to the standards, the traditional standards of men, which is, you know what, if you have it out, right? You have it out. Okay, like we were just watching an episode of we're like on our 5th run through of Star Trek The Next Generation here. Mm-hmm. And it was the one called Family, the episode called Family, where Picard, he's just been rescued from like his stint as Locutus of Borg, and he goes home to visit his brother, right? And they don't like each other, and they have an argument, but they have an argument by themselves in the middle of a fucking vineyard, right? And they come to blows, and they end up rolling around in the mud, right? And beating on each other, and then they go home and track mud all through the house and get drunk, and everything's kind of mended, right? Like,
is this
after
the Quiet Man?
Sorry,
is this the Quiet Man movie?
No, this is Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, that's also in the Quiet Man too. Actually, this is very common. Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's like Gilgamesh and fucking Enkidu.
Yeah, they had a wrestling match
until the walls
friends.
of Uruk shuddered, right? And when Gilgamesh finally struck down Enkidu and won the fight, then he put out his hand and lifted, and they embraced as brothers, and they were like inseparable ever since.
Yeah,
okay.
Defeat means friendship. Very common trope in shonen anime.
In all masculine literature dating back to like 4,000 fucking BC. Okay, so you have this way that men are expected to behave. They're not expected to air their freaking grievances in public, right? This is why drama channels are so like, you watch them, YouTube drama channels, you watch them like Keemstar and other channels like that, right? And you watch them, but then you feel dirty afterwards, like you need to take a shower, right? Because grown-ass men shouldn't be behaving this way, right? Okay,
yes.
Right? If they have differences, they should settle them in private, right? And then that's the end of it, right? As opposed to constantly poking and poking and poking publicly, right? And that's what this is. And I mean, yeah, if you're going to call, I mean, it's different. It's different when Trump's going after the enemy, right? When he's on Twitter going after the enemy, or on Truth Social going after the enemy, right? When he's in public hammering the enemy, the adversary, right? But it's another thing when you're doing it with someone that you called friend, someone who you were allied with, someone who helped you, right? It's a little different, but I don't think Trump started this. He didn't start this public feud, right? Elon started the public feud.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't a feud so much as criticism of Trump's the big beautiful bill,
The
which
big beautiful bill,
I think it's fair. I think it's
yeah,
fair.
and Trump was asked about it, and he answered, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I think
and then
that,
it
like,
devolved
maybe
a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody mentions in the special chat. A special chat actually had an interesting thought. Jacobus Peterson says, from a pure risk point of view, it's a risky for Musk to be associated with only one political party. Could the current kerfuffle, including its over-the-top nature, be the way to create deniability? That's possible too.
That's what I thought, right? That was my original thought. It's like, because he's done his stint in government, his 130 days are up. He's got to go back to managing his companies, right? That's his only job now. And he can't afford for terrorists to be going around firebombing Teslas anymore.
Yeah. And that could be a possibility. I think there's one other possibility, and I'd like to.
There's a big public breakup, right?
Yeah.
Between Elon and over something. Okay, now I think we're on to something. Over something very progressive, like Elon's mad that we're defunding green energy.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and Elon's upset about that, right? Then maybe the firebombing of the Teslas will stop. I don't know.
Maybe. And it just takes Trump has to take a little bit on the chin. But of course, if the Epstein Files, if Musk doesn't follow through, or if it's ridiculous, then he loses a bit of points. But probably not with the people who are firebombing Teslas.
Well, he can't follow through because he doesn't have the documents.
Yeah.
And there are people now saying, speculating that, okay, the reason why the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago was because Trump brought the Epstein Files with him, right? To conceal his wrongdoing. And I'm like, no. Because if those documents all stayed at the FBI and, at the archives, they were never going to come out ever, right? Like, because even if Trump is implicated, there are so many other people implicated in those files, important people, right? That there's just no way that they were gonna, like, not just to get Trump, right? Like, yeah, no, you're not. Yeah, no. What Trump brought with him was the Russiagate file, about half of the documents in the Russiagate file. And if you actually watch the documentary, The Plot Against the President, it's very easy to see how those documents would be damning. And I can almost guarantee you, and here I am channeling my inner Alex Jones, I can almost guarantee you that those original documents, about half of the entire file that were smuggled out of the White House before Trump left office, out of Washington, D.C., and brought to Mar-a-Lago. I don't know whether they were brought to Mar-a-Lago. I think they were brought to Bedminster, and they were buried with Ivana in a hermetically sealed casket.
So
on private property.
Are you saying that there might be a scandal there?
I'm saying that Trump brought those documents with him as a form of life insurance.
Oh.
And yeah. And it was like, and I think if I was him, I was him, I would have copied every single one of them and put them on thumb drives and distributed them to like 8 or 10 people, very highly trusted people, with like a little note saying, upload if I die by assassination.
Yeah.
Upload everywhere.
No, just upload if I die, because those assassins, they can be really
Yeah.
sneaky.
Yeah.
They're sneaky. Okay, so Brian, I'm going to do a video now. So please switch it to the video screen for me, because I'm going to go into. I'm going to put on my Alex Jones hat, the hat that the special chat hates so much, and I already have it on, eh? And we're going to go into deep dive into Allison's squirrely acquiring of different clues to paint a picture. Are we there, Brian? Just tell me when we're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so just listen to this. This is one of my favorite like financial channels. It's called Johnny Bravo. I like how entertaining he is. But so he has some thoughts, and then after watching what he put together, I saw something else that was really interesting, and I think it might give some more light into what's going on between Elon and Trump, and tie back to, submitting a budget for renovating your house versus going after the homeowners association for the legislation that prevents you from doing so. Oops.
At the highest rate.
You guys hear everything?
Oh, and you get to pay for it in your taxes. And Milton Friedman.
Is it good? Is it good, Brian? Is it all going through?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so this is here we go. Milton
says
Friedman.
this perfectly. Listen to what good old Milt has to say. It's very, very simple. This is the only number you ever have to look at. I'll actually lie about it. It's actually the 12 trillion.
Keep your eye on one thing and one thing only, how much government is spending. Because that's the true tax. Every budget is balanced. There is no such thing as an unbalanced federal budget. You're paying for it. If you're not paying for it through it in the form of explicit taxes, you're paying for it indirectly in the form of inflation or in the form of borrowing. The thing you should keep your eye on.
If you think.
Okay, so this is a freaking ad. I'm going to run this through on mute, but just to get into that a little bit deeper, the government is parasitic on the market, right? So we have different kinds of economic systems. The Austrian, which is basically just leave it to the market, everything, including even if there's a depression or a recession. Then we have Keynesian, which is government interference if we have a recession, to try to, jumpstart spending again to reduce the amount of recession. And then we have modern monetary theory, which is the government is entirely responsible for the economy. So when it's a boom, it's the government. When it's a recession, it's always the government. So somehow, if we get enough government intervention, we will have eternal prosperity for the end of time. And he's pointing out that this isn't the case because government spending inevitably leads to higher taxes. Even tariffs will end up impacting the American consumer and the buying dollar, or taxes, unseen taxes in terms of inflation. But the other thing it does is government spending essentially takes a meritocracy and turns it into a top-down, choosing the winners and losers. It gets rid of the upward mobility. It gets rid of the ability for men to really develop that social cachet in order to be attractive to women, which then destroys pair bonding. But here's what else, and this is getting back into what I think is going on between Elon and Musk, because again,
Elon and Trump,
Elon and Trump, Musk and Trump. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate that. You're really helping me be actually intelligible to other human beings. I appreciate that. So what's happening between Musk and Trump, and it speaks to an ultimate goal in controlling government spending long term, because this bill cannot control government spending long term. As Musk has pointed out, it's savings over what, 1.7, reducing the budget 1.7 over 10 years. But there's going to be new administrations. You just can't promise that. But there might be a way to actually long-term reduce government spending. So let's listen to this.
Fixed. Everyone knows it. Warren Buffett knows it. I know it. Elon.
So this is the fix. This is what he's talking about. This is the way to permanently fix government overspending.
Knows it. You can solve the deficit. You can solve everything in 5 minutes. It'll never be solved.
No.
Quote, you just pass a law. That's it. Anytime there is a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. If your
and Elon Musk wrote on X, this is the way, right? So, and I want to go through the tweet sequence of, so this is, I wanted to get some confirmation of Elon actually agreeing with this. So Warren Buffett says you pass a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. And then Elon Musk says, this is the way. This is the way to do it. And so I found this tweet. This is what Johnny Bravo is referencing. And I wanted to get confirmation. And I believe I found it here. Justin, Elon Musk endorsed a constitutional amendment which would make members of Congress ineligible for re-election if the deficit is more than 3% of GDP. Lawmakers would shape up quickly. And yeah, this is Warren Buffett's idea, but he has endorsed it. He endorsed it June 4th, 2025. Now, wait, let me finish. Okay. Now, this was July. Okay. Actually, this was way back when, July 2012. This is from Donald Trump. No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. Deficits not allowed. Right? So he actually agreed with that 13 years ago. Yeah. So this is something I'm just laying it out here. I don't know if it's correct. Maybe what's happening is you're pursuing the bill, get the bill passed, and then pursue a constitutional amendment, maybe, in which the essentially members of Congress shouldn't be eligible for election if our country's budget is not balanced, or it's essentially deficits not allowed.
That is stupid. That number one, that's stupid. That is a stupid idea, because then Rand Paul would be gone. Mike Lee would be gone. Ineligible for re-election. All of the people in Congress right now.
Just a second. Got to change it back to us talking, Brian. Okay, continue, Karen.
All of the people in Congress right now who are fighting to curb deficits, to eliminate deficits, would be as gone as all of the freaking Nancy Pelosi's and the AOC's. Okay? So, no.
Like you were
dumb
talking
idea.
About before.
Anybody who votes for legislation that causes the deficit.
I think that's sort of, I mean, it's in a tweet, right? I think that's sort of implied. It's the people who vote for it, who agree to continue to have deficits, that should be ineligible for Congress to run for Congress. So either you control government spending or you're out of government. And really, like, this is the thing. And this is why I appreciate, aside from bringing up the Epstein Files, which wasn't cricket and I think was a low blow, I appreciate the conversation going back to government spending, because that's really what matters, in my opinion. That's really what's causing a lot of these issues, and the destruction of upward mobility, the destruction of people being able to form families, or men being able to become attractive to women by gaining financial. And I mean, also the government ends up doing this song and dance in order to excuse its spending. And you know what? They hide all of this, because if you think about it, they're writing a blank check that we have to pay for. And they're definitely doing this in Canada. But they hide this behind this kind of self-righteous framework in which they're saving us from ourselves. They're making us better people, because we're not going to be sexist. We're not going to be destroying the environment. We're not going to be transphobic. We're not going to be gay. So they have this self-righteous narrative, which is excusing the fact that they're squatting on our work. That makes sense. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. don't get me started on Canadian politics right now.
It's okay. You can start. It's just that you have to finish in 20 minutes.
I can't, and I won't, because I'm just about ready to just
kill, or no,
No.
in Minecraft.
I'm just about ready to just wash my hands with political commentary altogether, and just start watching fluffy, cute pet videos. What
Look, just say it. We know Carney is being a disingenuous ass.
Oh,
hopefully,
Carney is such a freaking lying liar, and he's got to tell, right? Like, one side of his mouth goes up whenever he's uttering a lie, right? Like, he's got very, very obvious duper's delight or duping delight or whatever you call it, right? And it's there all the time, and he's just absolutely, like, and when Andrew Scheer, right, when he knows he's got him by the short and curlies with some point of logic, right? He gets that cute little kind of chipmunky smile that he gets, right? Because he knows he's got him. Right? But yeah, no, it's like I look at politics in Canada, and I'm just like, honestly, we're being largely ruled by retards, and it's and they use this moralizing, right? Like, if you don't support. Okay, do you know what they're bringing in Canada, Allison?
Oh, good Lord.
Any cash transaction over $10,000 will be banned. Banned. Cash transaction of $10,000 or more will be banned.
Yeah. Well, they're probably doing it because of, drug trade or something, or allegedly.
I'm sure.
Even though they're legalizing it.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, well, they want everything to be electronic and traceable. Every dollar you spend, they want to have an electronic data. It's got to be in a database somewhere, right? Where you spent it, who you paid it to, what you spent it on, and it's just like, yeah, no more living off the grid, right? Like my son, right? My oldest he's worked in kitchens for ages and ages, right? And he keeps his money under a mattress, right? Because he gets tips, right? He keeps it under a mattress, and he doesn't spend it at the grocery store. He uses his bank card, and every once in a while he goes in, and sometimes he has a lot of money when he goes in to deposit his cash, right? Either that, or he just keeps it under the mattress just in case. And it's just like, yeah, no, like, they want to get rid of cash. They want to get rid of cash. And if they were even remotely capable of actually detecting money launderers, right, or willing to do it, they would be doing it. Right? How long was freaking Hunter Biden laundering money? Millions of dollars of money and evading taxes. Like, how long was he doing that? Right?
But that's the thing. It's like, and I'm always going to appreciate Doge and Trump for exposing the sheer amount of waste and graft. And I mean,
graft
just to
and
know
grift. Yeah.
Graft and grift, like, just to know what these politicians are getting away with and excusing behind all of these narratives in which they have moral superiority over the people that they govern, that they have the right to go in and tell people their business. Meanwhile, they're basically they're basically living in our basement.
Yeah. Well, let's
writing checks.
Let's just look at one instance of this kind of government-funded, non-governmental organization grift.
Mm.
Peter Daszak, EcoHealth Alliance. Okay, he applies.
Tell me about it.
He applies to DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. He wants to take a bat coronavirus from a specific cave in southern Yunnan province in China. And he wants to slap a couple of features onto it, right? A furin cleavage site, which would make it extremely contagious to humans, right? Have a high affinity to human cell receptors. And a mutation on the ORF8 gene, right? That would extend the period of infection where you don't have any symptoms. So where you don't have symptoms, but you are infectious and you can transmit it to others, right? Okay, extend that period. And DARPA was like, "Are you fucking retarded?" And they rejected his grant application. So then he went to USAID and to National Institutes for Health and National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. And, you know, I don't know whether he was totally straight up on what the project was with those guys, but he got a grant. And he never actually, in the 2 years or 3 years that passed, where until we finally, you know, all kind of agreed, yeah, it came from that fucking lab, right? Never freaking gave any updates on what the money had been spent on and what the progress of the project was, right? And these are mandatory updates, right? They're supposed to submit them every like 3 months or 6 months or whatever. Here's what we're spending the money on, and here's how the project's going, and this is where we're at, and you know, this is what we've accomplished so far, right? You're supposed to be submitting. Never submitted any updates. NIH and NIAID never freaking called him on it, right? And so it turns out that the closest genetic relative to SARS-CoV-2 is a specific bat coronavirus found in a specific bat cave in southern Yunnan that was the virus named in the DARPA project. And the only thing that differentiates it from that virus, that original virus, is a furin cleavage site and a mutation on the ORF8 gene. Yeah. And no oversight. None. No oversight at all, right? In fact, in the margin notes of the drafts of the application that they sent to DARPA, because this was all FOIA'd, right? In the margin notes of the authors of this grant application for DARPA were saying, geez, if anybody figured out we were going to do this in Wuhan, they'd be losing their minds, right? They'd lose their shit. They'd be freaking out, right? That the application itself said that they were going to do the work in North Carolina under the direct supervision of Dr. Ralph Barrick, right? But the entire time they were planning to outsource it to fucking Wuhan.
Was it cheaper there or something?
100%, like way cheaper.
Well, that's really suspicious. I wonder if anything bad came of that.
Yeah, no, and it's like, and this is why when, you know, it was January 30th or something like that, when the public health emergency of international concern was finally declared a month and a half late by the World Health Organization. Okay. When they finally declared that, and then Fauci was up into the wee hours of the morning, up until like 3, 4 a.m., sending emails, setting up phone calls. We need to find out, you know, assigning Francis Collins, who was the head of the NIH at the time, right? Fauci was head of the NIAID, right? We need to find out that nothing that we funded is attached to, could possibly be attached to this. right? And well, I guess there was nothing specific except the DARPA grant application.
Mm.
And then Daszak, once he got rejected, just going to these other guys and getting money from them for vaguer projects that, and then no oversight. And it's just like, these people, right? They're fucking retards, right? DARPA were not retards. They were like, okay, so it's a mucosal respiratory virus. You can't vaccinate against transmission or infection. That doesn't work with these types of viruses. It just doesn't. It's just the nature of the virus and the nature of the infection and the nature of our immune systems. You can't vaccinate against it, right? Even previous infection only really protects you for a couple of years, right? But vaccination, flu shots, it's like maximum 60% effective, at times as low as 14% effective at preventing clinically apparent disease. That's not preventing infection or spread. That's preventing being sick in bed. 14 to 60% effective at preventing you from being sick in bed with the flu. Okay? So we're looking at this situation. DARPA said, okay, you can't vaccinate against it. So it's not good to think to even consider making this virus to see if we could come up with countermeasures, because the nature of the virus means that there are no countermeasures, right? Because you can't vaccinate your and it makes a bad bioweapon because you can't vaccinate your people against it. And these particular features would make it horrendously transmissible, because half the people walking around with it wouldn't even know they had it, and they'd be just shedding virus all over the fucking place. Yeah. So everybody is going to get it. Like, and it'll never go away because it can't be eradicated, because that's the nature of this type of virus. So if we make this virus and it escapes, we're stuck with this virus forever. And so DARPA said, like, are you out of your fucking minds? And Fauci and his friends were like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Give him $600,000. Make it happen.
God damn. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
so basically,
for the low price, $600,000. 20 million people died, and the global economy lost $23 trillion.
Okay, so basically the conclusion of all of this is the government squats in your basement, controls your checkbook, and does fucked up experiments on bats.
They give your money to people that, like, why? Like,
no, but not only do they give money,
everybody's outraged about the gender inclusive farming in freaking Guatemala, or like, it was gender inclusive farming in Burma, right? It was free transgender surgeries in Guatemala, okay? And all of these freaking DEI things, right? Giant wastes of money. Huge wastes of money, right? Okay, that's just fucking money. That's just like $1 million here, a couple $1 million. This was $600,000, okay? That cost the global economy $23 trillion.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny to think that anybody thought that was a good idea. But I mean, I'll bring it back to men's issues, as I will. They also fund things that destroy the actual economy that they feed on.
Yes.
Which, I mean, it's not quite as dramatic as what you're saying, Karen.
Yeah, no, they're just like, yeah, no, let's figure out a way to, like, exclude white men from every form of gainful employment out there. Yeah.
Or exclude them from any kind of upward mobility. Surely that will fix things.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And then also,
and then
let's exclude Black men from their communities entirely. Let's out-compete them.
Oh God, like two years ago, okay? 2 years ago, Whoopi Goldberg on The View, I think it was 2 years ago, she's talking about how people in the government are complaining about the birth rates being too low. And so she's like, oh yeah, the birth rates are too low. Well, where are the tax credits? Where are the incentives? Where's the subsidized this?
It doesn't
Where's
work,
the subsidized that? Right? Okay. Yeah. Maybe if you provided those things, people would be able to afford to have children. Okay. Then like 2 years later, Trump comes out with this $5,000 baby bonus. We'll give you $5,000 cash if you have a baby. She's like, that's just sick.
Well, what the hell is welfare then?
Yeah, I know, but it's like, okay, $5,000 cash if you have a baby, or maybe it's $2,000 cash if you have a baby outside of wedlock, and $5,000 if you have one in an intact family. But like, she's literally saying, if you want people to have babies, 2 years ago, if you want people to have babies, you should pay them to have babies, right? And then the moment Trump says, I'm going to pay you to have babies, she's like, oh my God, it's disgusting.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like, it's a very, as AOC said, because now we can do that because AOC opened it up. We can now talk about femininity for what it is, because she just said that Trump and Musk are acting like a bunch of girls. Well, what does that mean? Well, women approach conflicts and reasoning through things differently than men, and often in very emotional ways that are based on how you feel about a person. So on one day, you'll say, oh, you should respect motherhood and give women money for having children. But then somebody you don't like says it and suddenly it's bad. Well, that's very feminine thinking. Instead of looking at it in terms of the principle, it doesn't matter if someone you dislike says it because it's a principle you hold, right? She abandons the principle because otherwise she'd be agreeing with someone she doesn't like.
Yeah.
Is that not actually a very feminine approach?
Oh God, yeah. No. And literally, I look at every fucking time, right? Every fucking time someone on the other side of the argument makes a point, right, that I agree with, I acknowledge it. Every fucking time they say something and I think they're being taken unfairly out of context.
Yeah, you clarify.
I say that, right? I say, yeah, no, you're being to be fair, right? I think you're being a little harsh, right? Because maybe they just misspoke, right? Maybe they didn't mean it that way, right? I could easily interpret this comment 3 ways. Like, let's try to be charitable here, right? And but when I see people doing this, it's just like, I'm just like, why don't we just go live with the chimps, Allison? It would be easier. Their politics are less complicated.
Yeah, that's true.
Fewer relationships to keep track of.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's like this, and AOC is completely right. I'm glad that we can now have these discussions about what is feminine politics, what is girl politics versus the politics of men, because AOC has opened it. Now we can do it. It's fair game. Sorry. Although, again, because I'm saying it and not AOC, it becomes bad, right? Because you don't like me. Women don't like people like us.
Because you're an honorary man, Allison.
Yeah, because I'm an honorary man due to my magnificent jaw. But, this is the thing. Like, now we can discuss this. So what is the effect, the sum total effect of femininity on politics? It becomes about selling, and not just any femininity, like femininity that is self-righteous about holding itself to no account, to no external standard whatsoever. So evincing no virtues, nothing, you cannot judge this femininity. It is perfect in and of itself. It is an ideal that cannot be possibly criticized, right? So this is a kind of it's femininity without any expectation of moral development. So it's not just femininity, it's femininity without any expectation of moral development. It's completely immature in that sense. So it is girl femininity. AOC is right. Now, what is the effect? What is the aggregate effect of girl femininity on politics?
Well, it just turns it into high school drama.
Well, a high school drama, everything is about the emotion in the moment. Everything is relational. So you can't see things in terms of overarching principles or systemic factors or causality. Everything is about who says it and who they're saying it to. And it just becomes this ephemeral mess.
Well, and they even standpoint theory and problematization in academia are like ways where they actually legitimize well, who's saying it and why do you infer that they're saying it and who does their statement benefit and who does it harm, right?
Okay.
And yeah, and then you can feel free to disregard what they said because of why they said it,
Just to sum up, it's good to actually see the political discourse in some ways being pulled back to systems, economy, interest rates, all of this other stuff from, oh, this person is bad, so therefore what the things he does are bad. And I'm going to judge him based on a very convenient framework, which I do not apply to myself. Like, it's good to see that. No, I'm not sure. I can't get behind Elon taking it into e-girl drama with the Epstein Files stuff. Yeah, I know you, Karen, say if he can deliver the goods, then it's fine. But I'm like,
no, I didn't say it was fine.
I think can I just say I think it's actually really, really awful to make an allegation like that. I don't know if you guys noticed what this channel is about, but false allegations is kind of like a big thing here, and that is a completely unproven statement to make. Now, I'm willing to wait and see if anything comes out of it, but if he really believes that that's true, that about Trump and Epstein, then I don't know why he had Trump hanging out with his kid. I don't know why, the Democrats didn't just put that all out there, like when they were in power, like last term. So it all looks really sketchy to me. And I think that Elon is just throwing an autistic tism, like a tantrum. And I think it's extremely reckless to make allegations like this. And I say this as somebody who stood up for Bill Cosby, for Harvey Weinstein, for Masterson, for so many other people, and Trump, all the times that he got accused of shit, by like E. Jean Carroll and whatnot. So, just saying that is like really, really irresponsible.
Too. Also lefties like Neil Gaiman,
Yeah, Neil Gaiman too.
Because this is a principle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's being accused.
Yeah, Gian Gomeshi, I was just like, the principle is, right? You wait and see.
Yeah.
And, and like, I didn't say if Elon Musk has the receipts, it's fine. No, I'm saying if Elon Musk has the receipts, right?
It's understandable,
he may not be destroyed by this.
Oh, okay. I see where you're getting at now.
Yeah.
All right. I apologize for mischaracterizing you, but yeah, Brian, you're 100% right. If he has
no receipts, it just comes across as like
accusations shouldn't be used as political tools.
Yeah.
Full stop. They should be completely removed from politics. And again, that's another demonstration of girl politics, these accusations and threat narratives. But yeah, you're right, Brian. And I would like to point out that we also defend people who are presumably on the left. And we were right about Neil Gaiman, by the way, guys. It turns out, this was a bunch of, I'm pretty sure this turned out that he delivered the receipts. And all of the accusers actually in text were evincing consent, shall we say. I don't know if that's an acceptable defense anymore in the UK, but they were essentially basically texting him things like, and ironically, it was in the actual articles of one of the women who accused him, Neil Gaiman. One of the women, she even mentioned the fact that she texted him at the time after their little tete-a-tete that she couldn't wait for the next one and what he was going to do to her. Yeah. It's like, how, at that point, how does he know? Oh, but I wasn't consenting in my one lobe of my brain.
Yeah, when I texted him that,
it wasn't,
to me.
it was my body was making me do it, and also my starstruckedness. Like, okay, so basically you're an infant. Let's go back to coverture.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, please.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
the the Ghomeshi trial was exactly that, right? These women were aggressively pursuing him.
Yeah.
And then when he was just like, I'll give you a go, right? But and he didn't even really give them a go. Like, he didn't actually have sex with any of them, right? He just kind of took them on, each of them on it, all three of them on a date, and then decided, okay, no thanks. Like, even the primary accuser, the one who was on Trailer Park Boys, Lucy Ducater, right? He didn't have sex with her.
Yeah, I know. So,
And
but anyway,
they spent a weekend together and they didn't have sex.
Okay, so
right?
but the overall principle, not getting too much into, because I know that Brian
But
has to be
I'm just saying, like, he appeared to be like extremely cautious about who he was willing to have sex with.
What a surprise,
And it wasn't these women, and so they all got together in some kind of fucking hen party and decided to bring him down.
Yeah.
And I hate that guy.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
what
but
kind-
it's the principle of the thing.
He was the host of CBC Radio's flagship program, right? One of the most progressive guys you could ever think of, right? He graduated with a degree in philosophy and women's studies.
But it's the principle. It doesn't matter if you don't like the guy.
I know.
False accusations should not be used as political tools.
That's
they shouldn't
right.
be thrown around. All right, so that's going to be
personal ammunition.
Or as personal ammunition, talking about girl politics, as AOC says. All right, so I just want to thank Karen. I'm going to make sure that we didn't get surprised. We didn't even get a super chow. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message after the show is over. Very much appreciated. And you can talk about anything. You can insult my hat. You can say we're completely wrong. I'm completely wrong. Karen's completely wrong. We're both completely wrong in what we agreed on, or whatever. We'll address it at the next reasonable show. Or you can compliment us. That's always unique. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip. I want to thank Brian for doing the production. All of the problems with the production are my fault, not his. So just remember that. And I want to tell everyone to like, subscribe. Sorry?
Are you wrapping up?
Yeah.
Can I say something about this whole
sure,
thing?
Go ahead. I didn't realize you wanted to. Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. I wanted to. So, like, it's still early days. We don't really know, like, where this is gonna go, and it's probably best to just remember that everybody's just speculating. But this reminds me of a story that maybe people who are not Americans remember. Do you guys know about the feud between two founding fathers, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson? So let me tell you a little bit about it, because this, and look, I'm not trying to say, just for the record, because I know some people are going to get triggered by this, that like Trump and Elon are just like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, but I think there's some parallels in the story. So John Adams and Thomas Jefferson were close allies during the American Revolution. They collaborated on the Declaration of Independence, and they shared mutual respect. However, their relationship deteriorated due to political differences during the 1790s. Adams was a Federalist. He favored a strong central government. And Jefferson was a Democratic Republican. Yes, those things existed back then, advocating for states' rights and a more decentralized system. Their rivalry peaked during the 1800 presidential election when Jefferson ran against President Adams. Their campaign was vicious. Jefferson supporters called Adams a hideous, hermaphroditical character, and Adams's camp labeled Jefferson a mean-spirited, low-lived fellow, which was considered really insulting at the time. So they went after each other hard, okay? Jefferson won the election, ultimately becoming the third U.S. president, and the two ceased communication for over a decade. In 1812, their mutual friend, Dr. Benjamin Rush, orchestrated a reconciliation. So they had their mutual friends, had them come together, sit down and talk to each other by encouraging Adams to write to Jefferson. On January 1st, 1812, Adams sent a short letter updating Jefferson on his family's well-being, signaling a willingness to reconnect. Jefferson responded warmly, and the two began a prolific correspondence that lasted until their deaths. They exchanged over 150 letters discussing politics, philosophy, and personal reflections, rebuilding a deep friendship. And here's the really weird thing about the Jefferson-Adams thing, which was a friendship, then a feud, and then a friendship at the end. Both men died on the exact same day, July 4th, 1826, which is the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So, what I want to say about this lastly is that ultimately there is a kind of pettiness to all of this, but also it bears pointing out that we haven't really seen the ways that men communicate with each other. There's a lot of it can get very banty and it can get very aggressive, but I think that it's not a new thing. So I just I just thought that was an interesting story, and we'll see what happens, but it could be that they just, because from what I understand, Elon Musk, he said that he was going to take a break and try to cool off. So maybe they'll work something else out. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's possible they'll reconcile. It was great to see them united against government bloat and pork. And if they'll always have Paris. All right. So
there's super chats too.
Oh, we do have a super chat. Okay,
we have
so
two.
Jacobus, two. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I don't actually have the instance because I know that YouTube created another instance, which is nobody's fault here. It's YouTube. Just periodically, YouTube likes to cough up a hairball. Jacobus Peterson gives us $5. Temba, his arms open.
Oh, okay. That's a Star Trek Next Generation reference.
Okay.
Timba, his arms open. Jalad, when the walls fell. No, okay, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
I don't
All right,
get
the
that
other
reference.
Super chat is from Alex for $5, and he says, thanks for the show.
Okay, great. I'm glad. Hopefully this was heartening or entertaining or whatever you wanted to get out of it. I think our perspective is valuable on this. It's not just leave it to everybody who's like, oh my God, the world is falling. The sky is falling. Everything's going to hell. But anyway,
is going to hell, but
yeah, yes, because the government keeps spending too much.
And spending it to put men down.
Yeah, this government keeps spending it too much, and they're like, "Well, what can we do with this money we're stealing from the market? Let's destroy the market."
No, if they were spending it on something useful, like
infrastructure,
creating systems that can propel men upwardly, right? And get them producing, get them to be productive. Because women, quite frankly, really don't want to be productive.
They don't want the bill. They just want to, it's so funny because I was thinking about this while I was looking at all this. What is the mentality of, I'm going to open up a huge amount of debt and somebody else is going to pay for it?
Yeah.
Because that's what our government does.
Yeah.
It's
our
like,
government's a woman.
This is somebody else's problem. All of the things that we're buying, somebody else's problem. What kind of mentality is that?
Our government is a high maintenance wife.
AOC really put her finger on it. It's funny how feminists can be really, really right while being incredibly wrong. All right.
They're always accidentally right.
Accidentally right. Okay. So feedthebadger.com/justtip to send us those messages on anything you like. We'll take it. And like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share, because sharing is caring. And have a lovely afternoon, evening, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. And thank you for your kind attention.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.